Hi everyone, it's Mr. Grest here, and this is the third lesson on the psychology unit. And today we're going to be looking at goal setting. So what we need to do is describe the factors of goal setting, so how we set goals and what they should adhere to do. We need to explain how goal settings can improve performance, and also the importance of reviewing targets once you've set the goals. Now, goal setting is the process of setting down targets that a performer will aim to accomplish. So it's important that performers and athletes give themselves a target for seasons or sections of seasons. And what it can do, it can give the performer purpose and give them something to aim for the end of the year. Now, the benefits of an attainable target can really improve the focus. So it really shows the performer what they need to be working on during their training. It can make sure they increase the effort if they're reviewing the target as they move along. It means they need to put the effort into the training session. Resilience and motivation. It can really, if you know how far you've got to achieve and what you've got to do, it can really motivate you to improve. And obviously, if you're setting yourself a target that is better than what you can currently do, so maybe in a year's time you want to run a certain time at a marathon, or you want to score so many goals in a season, it's going to clearly improve your performance. Right, when setting goals, you need to make sure you follow what's called the SMART principle. The SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Now, specific means that when you're setting a goal, it needs to be related and relevant to your role in a team, or it could be the sport you're doing. So that might be if you're a marathon runner, it might be a cardiovascular endurance type goal. If you're a footballer, it might be a number of goals you're going to score in the season. It needs to be measurable, so you need to know what you're actually aiming for. So you want some numerical value to the goal. So again, like if it's a race, say if you're doing a park run and you set yourself a target of doing it in 25 minutes, you can actually run the park run and see whether you did it in 25 minutes or not. It also needs to be achievable. So if you think of like a marathon, if you set yourself a target of doing a 1 hour marathon, then clearly that's not achievable because the current world record is just over 2 hours. So the goal needs to be like able to be achieved. And then it needs to be realistic for you as an individual. So say if you set a 100-meter target of 9.58 seconds. Now, Usain Bolt has run 9.58 seconds, so that is achievable, but it's probably unrealistic for any of us kind of mere mortals who aren't world-class sprinters. And you also want to set your goal to be time-bound, so it has an end point to it, because that can increase the motivation. Because if the goal is open-ended, there's no incentive to get training tomorrow and working towards that. So you need to make sure you set yourself an end point and you structure your training so that you can reach that end point. Now, to put it into context, from my experience, in 2017, I ran my first race. I ran a half marathon with Mrs. Croucher and Mrs. Duncan. And then since then, I've ran various races from 5 kilometres up to a marathon and half marathons, etc. Okay. Now, in 2019, I set myself the target to run the Manchester Marathon on the 6th of March 2020, and my aim was to run under 3 hours 15 seconds and 3 hours 15 minutes. Sorry, my PB at the time, the previous year, I ran 3 hours 27 minutes 54 seconds. Now, to put the SMART goal setting into that. It's specific because I'm setting myself a marathon target, and as you said, for the previous 3 years, I'd ran lots of races, so I could class myself as a runner, not a very good runner, but a runner indeed. It's measurable because I've set myself like a numerical target. So when I finished that race in 2020, which was sadly cancelled, I never got to see if I could do this. I was going to be given a time, and I could measure: was it less than 3 hours 15, or was it more than 3 hours 15? It's achievable because, as I alluded to earlier, I'm a male, and the male world record is just over 2 hours, so clearly it is an achievable target to run a marathon in that time. And it's also probably realistic because my personal best was only 12 minutes or 12 and a bit minutes faster than that. So I was only having to run slightly faster over the course of the race in order to achieve that goal. And it was also time bound because I'd set myself a date, I picked a race, and on the 6th of March 2020, I was going to see whether I could do that. So that's how SMART goal setting can be applied to my personal objective, and have a think about how you can apply it to yours too.